Commissioner and Mr Mayor, but I'll leave it there. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Assembly Member Dismore.
Thank you. Commissioner, the Mayor talked about Brexit in his remarks just now. With the Brexit negotiations deadline rapidly approaching, what would be the impact of a no-deal Brexit on the capital's security and resilience, in your view?
I think everybody here would agree that it's actually very hard to predict that in specific ways. What we know, and you will have, perhaps some of you have seen the evidence that Lynn Owens and DG of the NCA and my colleague Richard Martin, who leads for me and for the police chiefs nationally, said at the Home Affairs Select Committee just 2 days ago. There are a number of instruments that we currently use, some of which we can automatically access, some of which are just very fast, which in a no deal would become either unusable, or we have to find a substitute which is slower and more expensive and will have to be used more sparingly. It will take, in a no deal scenario, it would take more officers undoubtedly just to manage some of the key inquiries, key investigations that we must do to keep our citizens safe. Equally, we are planning, as you know, in a sober and careful way with others about the contingencies should there be, in a no-deal scenario, shortages of particular goods and that kind of thing. Should there be delays on the motorways? Should there be protests outside Parliament in any scenario? We're doing all of this, but it's very much sober, calm, based on sensible planning assumptions. And as we go through the days and weeks, it will become clearer and clearer what the scenario is and really how people are feeling about that. And we stand ready. I can't convert that into a sort of metric of changed risk or security change. It's just not possible because there's so much that is unknown.
Well, one thing that came up from the National Police Coordination Centre on a no-deal Brexit, they warned that the Metropolitan Police officers who are non-British EU nationals could lose their warrant cards. I think there's currently 820 of them. Can you explain why and what the consequences of this would be?
I know that they have said that, or at least I've seen it's reported that they have said that. I simply think, to quote many other people, that is an unthinkable scenario. I don't believe that will actually happen. I would be astonished if it did. Of course, if we did find, we have a large number of police staff who are EU citizens as well, some of whom are feeling rather unsettled, of course. But I remain confident that those members of staff and indeed police officers will be able to continue with their work with us, which they enjoy doing, which they do very well, bring us a great deal of diversity in the coming months and years.
Meg, given your 6 Brexit red lines on policing, do you think the Conservative government understands or cares about the implications of a no-deal or bad-deal Brexit that it would have for Londoners' safety and security?
Well, I'm sure they care about it. The proof is in the pudding. I was in Brussels on Friday. I met with the EU Commission on Security, Sir Julian King. A British person is in charge of security across the EU. That will no longer be the case at 11 p.m. on March 29th if we leave the European Union. I think what's really important is we get as best as we possibly can, clearly. You know my views in relation to a public vote. There is a real concern about things slowing down, as the Commissioner has said. I think the government does understand the need for an arrangement with the EU on security. The last meeting I had with David Davis before he resigned, we discussed the issue of security, and he understood, and I'm sure Dominic Raab does, the reason why the collaboration with the EU is so important to our safety, but also to the safety of our colleagues, allies